Hi guys, you're welcome to the Delaware Studios. This is another Android programming tutorial. We'll be looking at the Advanced Recyclerview. Whereby we'll be talking about the draggable grid, the draggable staggered grid, the swipeable, the swipe on long press, minimal draggable, the add, remove, header and footer, and so other different Android Advanced Recyclerview layouts. So we're actually going to be talking about the draggable grid example, whereby you can easily drag a grid in the recycler layout to different sites of the layout or of the activity. Probably you have a main activity launched and it's filled with grid layouts. Probably the grid layouts are in 4 or 5 in a row, so you can easily drag from one row to another row the particular grid. So we're actually going to create that example in a jiffy. So I will be walking you through in how to actually construct this particular kind of Recyclerview layout, and I'll actually be going straight to Android Studio to start up this project. So I want you to sit back and walk along with me on how to actually get this achieved. So I'm actually going to start a new Android Studio project, which I'm going to name Draggable Grid. That's fine. So I would like it to sit in the Android Studio projects folder. That's fine. So click on next. We're actually designing for phone and tablet. We go for an empty activity. Let's maintain the main activity as the launcher. So you finish up. So actually we're going to have this created. We will be including a particular library, which is very important, right in the dependencies, which is the Advanced Recyclerview. We're going to actually include that after the structure of the application is set and ready. So we're actually going to head straight to the build Gradle, the module app, to include the dependency. So I'm actually going to include a compile. com.github.h6 AH4i Android Advanced Recyclerview 0.10.2. That's fine. So before we actually get that sync, we have to move to the build Gradle, which is the project, to actually include the Maven right there in all projects. So we're going to inside the repositories, you have to include Maven and point to the URL. It should be double https gitpack.io. So with this now, we're ready to sync. So you click on your sync now to actually sync the project. So we actually have some other things that we're explaining, which are actually imported right in there. The animator, we have some drawable XML files, and even we're going to have the integers right there in the XML. So we have it set. So let's quickly brush through them. The animator, we need an animator to actually make that draggable effect possible, which is the object animator with a duration of 200. The property name is rotation, so the value is from 0 to -180, and we have the expand less rotation, just the opposite of the expand more rotation. In the drawable, we have some drawable XMLs which we actually use. These are all calling, so one are calling colors or the other. We have the layer list, which is the draggable active state. They're actually calling the color, which is a little bit of pink. We have them right sets. This is lighter pink, different shades. There's another color. I'll just calling different colors. That's just what those group item swiping are doing. We have the normal state, which is also having a sort of light gray. We have the group left. Let's see what that has. Okay, this has a clock sign, whereby you have the drawable IC item swipe spinned, and we have another one which is for the check mark. We have for the item down, different drawable layouts, which are actually imported right inside the application. And let's look at the values. We have the integers, whereby we have the expandable item indicator animation duration. That's the duration of the animator. That's 200. And we have the styles, a dedicated style for the M Recyclerview style, which has the clip children, the clip to padding, force, the padding bottom calling the dimension, the left, right, top. All should be within the range of 16 dps. We have the scroll bar style and the scroll bars. The scroll bar style is outside overlay, while the scroll bar is vertical. That's just the necessary things I need to show you about, but I'll still be showing the full source code for you to really get everything. Now we'll be looking at the layout, which is actually the UI of the application, and we're going to be having a few XML files: activity main, fragment recycler list, list grid, list group item draggable, and menu app bar mode switch. So let's look at the activity main. Let's see how the layout is going to be. So I'm going to actually start from here, and let's go straight. We have a relative layout. Well, a layout with a night match parent. We actually don't need a padding. We're not calling the dimension. Just let's keep it simple. And we're going to take away this as well, the choose context. We don't need that. So I'm going to take away the import. Just make it quite simple. And even the text view, we don't need the hello world text view. That's cool. So to make our code shorter, we can just close it this way. Fine, this is what we need. But we need an ID to be able to point that Android ID, which is container. That's fine. So from here, we're actually going to create the list grid item XML. Let's create that. New layout resource file. Call that list grid item. Go for the text layout, and we're going to make this a frame layout. And let me just drop down this. Now we're going to call the style, which is actually at style, common list item style. And we're going to have the Android layout height. Layout height. Android layout height, which will be equals to 96 dp. Okay, we have the height specified earlier, so I'm going to actually take away this. It shouldn't be match parent. We have a dedicated height, and let's have margin, layout margin 4 dp, and it's going to have a background, Android background at drawable BG swipe item neutral over there. That's the background we're going to use. So we have that set. So let's have the frame layout. Or layout with tonight match parent. And we're going to have an Android ID. Give it container. Android clickable. True. That's a boolean true. Android foreground. Called the attribute. Selectable item background. Tools. Ignore. That's equals to useless parent. Let's import these tools. Enter, we'll bring that in. So we're going to have a text view right inside this frame layout. Match parent. Android ID. Text 1. And we have Android layout gravity. Top. Left. And we're going to have Android gravity to centerize the text. And tools ignore. This time is going to be RTL hard-coded. That's how our layout is going to look like. Never mind about the preview, or we are right on course. From here, we're going to have the list group item draggable. Let's quickly create that as well. List group item draggable text. This is going to be a frame layout also. That's fine. Let's drop this down. We're going to have a layout height of 96dp, just like what we are there. 96. And we're going to have a star. Common list. We're going to have layout margin tab. Which is actually going to be 8dp. Oh yeah, it should be 8dp. And we're going to have the background. That's white. Should be white. Now we have a nested frame layout. Layout with the night match parent. Let's assign an ID. Container. Android clickable. True. Android foreground. the attributes, selectable item background, does the same thing of what we had earlier. Choose ignore equals useless parent. Let's import this guy. The drag handle should set the Android clickable true, not to propagate click events to the parent views. So let's get a view of the drag. Watch this closely. A view tag. Layout width and height. Layout width this time should be 32 dp, specifying what the view is going to look like. And for the height, it should be match parent. And Android layout gravity, top, left. Android background, that's a gray, that's fine. And Android clickable, true. Tools, ignore, RCL, coded. Let's close that right there. Let's have the text view before we now bring in the recycler view. Let's have the text view. Let's not forget we need an ID over here. Android ID, at ID, drag, undo. Layout width, match parent, and height is also match parent. So let's assign an ID, which is actually going to be text1. That's fine. We need this gravity. I'll just pick it up from here. And we need the margin left. Android layout margin left 40 dp. Android layout margin right 40 dp as well. Android gravity center. That's for the text view. Now let's introduce the recycler view. That should become h 6ah for high dot Android example as advanced Recyclerview common widget example. That's for the library. That's expandable rather. Item indicator. Quite lengthy, but that's how it flows. So you have that set. Now we're going to have an Android ID. Android ID, which is equals to indicator to have Android layout width, which is 24 dp. Layout height, also 24 dp. Android layout gravity, right center, center vertical. You have Android layout margin right 16 dp. Now we're going to close it right there. The recycler layout, advanced recycler view. So we have that set and ready. From here we're going to create the list. We have the list grid item, we have the list group item draggable. Let's have the menu app bar mode switch layout. We're going to create one other layout after this. Menu app bar mode switch. This is a linear layout maintained. This time the orientation is horizontal. On the width, wrap content, again to have Android padding right at 16 dp. Here we go. Let's have a text view. Layout with tonight. Wrap content. Match parent. Android gravity. Center vertical. Android text. Mode. It's fine. So let's introduce the Android support version 7 widget switch compact. This is an ID, Android ID at ID switch view, Android layout width, wrap content, Android layout height, match parents. We're going to have Android background. That's not. Close that right there. So this is what we're talking about. Sorry for that. This is for the menu app bar mode, and now we're going to need a fragment recycler list view. Let's create another one. Layout resource fragment recycler list view. Alright, let's go to the text. That's the linear layout. We're We're going to change this to a relative layout. Match parent. Let's take away this. That's fine. So we're going to introduce the recycler view. Android support version 7 widgets recycler view. Android ID recycler view. Android layout width. Match parent. Android layout height. Match parent. Call the star my recycler view star. So that's the star we're going to use. Now that's it. All layouts are ready, and we only need to introduce the menu. We need a menu, the drag grid. So let's introduce the menu. Res new directory menu. Right inside there, we're going to have a new menu resource file called menu drag grid. That's cool. So we're going to actually create an item and assign an ID, Android ID. Give it menu switch swap mode. Android title of normal on swap. I'm going to give app action layout. At layout, the menu app mode switch. Let's import the action layout. App show as action. As always. And let's close it right there. So we have all layouts set and ready. So from here, we'll be going straight to the Java classes, where we're going to be having the main activity, the example data provider fragment, the example data provider itself, the drawable utilities, the draggable grid example fragment, draggable grid example adapter, and the abstract data provider. So let me just create all those classes. We need the example data provider, drawable utils, also need of the example data provider fragment. We need our draggable with example fragment. I need draggable. Example. Adapter. And we also need the abstracts. Data provider. So that's it. Where we're going to be looking at all these in details, the main activity, the example data fragment, and so on. Let's just go through the main activity, and we're going to break this. The second aspect is going to be taken care of right there in the second part of this video. So I'm going to actually break this into two, but let's handle the main activity. We're going to have a private, static, final string called fragment, tag, data provider, which will be equals to data provider, close divider. We have another private, static, final string, fragment, list, view, which will be equals to all lowercase list view, close the rider. The super create called the activity main. That's fine. Now let's test. If saved instance state is equals to 1, null rather, you get support fragment manager to begin transaction, and you're going to add by instantiating new example provider fragment and passing fragment tag data provider. Now commit the sets. Just that way. Now let's get the other support. Get support fragment manager, begin transaction, add now ID, container, new draggable grid example fragment, and we call the fragment list view. So we commit. Now let's have a public abstract data provider called get data provider, and call the final fragment class, fragment equals to get support fragment manager, find fragment by ID, by tag rather, so you call the fragment tag data provider, and close the right there, return example data provider fragment called fragments, and you get data provided. So we're still going to work on the example data provider fragment because it's empty. You can see in comparative type, and also the draggable, they're empty. So once we work in them, the space is going to be active. So that's just it. Catch me up in the next part of the tutorial so that I'll be able to look at the data provider, the provider fragment, utilities, the draggable grid, fragment and adapter, and also the data provider abstracts. Don't go anywhere and please subscribe to my channel. Have a wonderful time.